Washington. About 40 minutes after Game 4 of the World Series, Alex Bregman was still in his dirty uniform, his jersey untucked as he strolled through the tunnels of Nationals Park, dissecting his breakout performance. The at-bat everyone wanted to know about resulted in the grand slam, a majestic shot off Fernando Rodney in the 7th inning that turned a competitive game into a blowout and helped launch the Astros to an 8-1 win that tied the World Series at 2 games apiece. But Bregman also wanted to discuss his next at-bat in that game, when he lined a single to left off a slider from Javi Guerra in the 8th. That one felt even better, he said, because he had been practicing some mechanical adjustments for weeks during a confounding postseason slump, and especially before Game 4. I was working on some stuff in the cage a ton before the game, he said, then paused and looked back before he walked back into the Astros clubhouse. A ton. Bregman's 3 hits and 5 runs batted in, including the grand slam, were not the sole reason the Astros won Game 4. But those at-bats, plus some solid contact that he made in his later at-bats in Game 3, could indicate an important trend for the Astros as they prepared for the final games of the series. After a substandard offensive performance in the first 2 games, their cleanup hitter, a top candidate for the American League Most Valuable Player award for his outstanding regular season, appears to have awaked from his slump. The extra hard work at the tail end of a long season, for the Astros, Game 5 on Sunday was their 16th postseason game, is paying off, although some of Bregman's teammates find it hard to fathom that he could work any harder than he normally does. He's always working on something, Josh Reddick, the right fielder, said. I don't know how he could work any harder. He probably takes a tee and a wiffle ball into his hotel room for all I know. But until Saturday, Bregman was not himself. He went into Game 4 batting .208 in the postseason, with just 1 hit in the first 3 World Series games. After Game 1 in Houston, he mocked himself when mentioning that he drew a walk, calling it the most productive thing I've done in a few weeks, and added that he needed to get better, ASAP. Then, in Game 3, he suffered the indignity of seeing the batter in front of him walk to load the bases, a tactical insult to a cleanup hitter. The message from the other team is obvious for all to see: we would rather face you than the other guy. It made sense, though. Michael Brantley, a left-handed batter who was 8 for 17 in the series entering Sunday, was more likely to get a hit off the right-handed Rodney than Bregman. There may be sound tactical reasons behind it all, but it can still sting. Carlos Correa, the Astros shortstop, said Bregman was indeed angry about it. I could see it coming, Correa said of the grand slam. That walk to Michael, so that they could pitch to him? That set him on fire. When you do that to Breg, he's going to come back the next day and he's going to be Breg. He's born for this. He's born for the big moments. You can contain him for a couple games, but not for the whole series. The man is unbelievable. He's one of the best hitters in the game, and you guys saw that tonight. Bregman said his approach heading into the bases-loaded at-bat against Rodney in Game 3, when he grounded out, was different than it was in Game 4 because there were 2 outs in the first case and only 1 in the second. In Game 4, he just needed to get the ball in the air to score a run on a sacrifice. And when he launched the ball on a trajectory into the left field seats, he stood with the bat raised up in his left hand and walked 5 steps down the first base line, a showcase pose for a showcase moment. It was slow and swaggy, Reddick said. A typical AB, I wouldn't expect anything else from him. Bregman, at his best, does play with some swagger, but it had been in very short supply this postseason. He homered in Game 2, stared briefly into his own dugout and then raised both arms as he approached home plate. But later in the game, he made 2 defensive mistakes and went 0 for 3 after the home run. And he was 0 for 5 in Game 3, stranding 6 runners in that one. But after a breakout Game 4, including that mechanically sound single in the 8th, Swaggy B was back, and could be for the rest of the series. I donati know that word can be used in different ways, Bregman said, referring to the concept of swagger. I just think we are better when we having fun, and we had fun the last 2 days.